I think that when it comes to NHL prospects, a lot of fans they get almost too excited about those prospects. So what exactly do I mean here? There are players, like even Easton Cowan, even Fraser Minton. Like Fraser Minton is one that I genuinely do think is a little bit overrated. Like I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be right now, but he wasn't necessarily tearing up the American Hockey League, right? Even Easton Cowan, when he had his good draft plus 1 year, I still have a hard time pinpointing exactly what I think that Easton Cowan is going to be at the NHL level, right? Do I think that he's going to be a top six winger? I'm not even actually sure about that. I know that people that are watching this video are going to raise eyebrows at that. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, look at his point per game and whatever. But you don't even know what he's going to do in the American Hockey League. We haven't even seen Easton Cowan play in the American Hockey League. One of the biggest things about prospects is how they perform at what age and at what level they're performing at, right? So if you have a player that's in the American Hockey League at 20 years old and he's performing really well, that bodes really well for that player. And one thing that I always thought was that, for example, when we talk about college free agents, they typically and rightfully so, not many people get overly excited about them, and some people get almost too excited about college free agents. I remember when the Toronto Maple Leafs got Tyler Bozak, and by the way, everybody hated Tyler Bozak, but he was actually a pretty good and useful player. It was astonishing that everybody hated that guy. Oh, he's the problem for everything. It was like the most popular, analytics guy thing to just hate Tyler Bozak for no reason at all. He was a guy that could score 45, 50 points, good player. If you're getting a college free agent that can do that, are you kidding me? Not only that, but a center, and we know that the Maple Leafs are really, really dry for centers, right? So if anything, they absolutely need another center in their organization, and a young one, might I add. Enter in Luke Hames. This is a player. This is the one college free agent that I'm gonna pick out of both of them that I want to talk about in this video, and I really really like this player. Now I'm not a professional scout or anything, but again I've watched a lot of video on this guy, and he is pretty promising. So scouting report: what you guys need to know about Leafs signing Luke Hames. If there was any NCAA free agent to get, this year was the year. The Toronto Maple Leafs were believed to be favorites to land him at the start. He was invited to Toronto's development camp last year, and it was known that the Leafs had interest in him all season long. Also, they actually were able to beat out the Ottawa Senators to get this player, right? So that's very, very important. Now, I am going to try to send the link of a video, the best NCAA free agent in years. Elite Prospects did a really, really, really good breakdown of him. And the biggest thing that I look for with NCAA free agents is I want to know, is he good enough to eventually make the NHL? I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we care about, right? Like, is he eventually going to be an NHLer? Like, I don't really care if he turns out to be, Alex Steves or something like that. I mean, really, that would be decent. Alex Steves is an okay player, but I want a center that can eventually play in the National Hockey League. The article continues. Many consider Hames to be one of the best, if not the best, college UFA on the market this year. Others weren't entirely convinced, but this market wasn't as good as other years, which allowed Hames the opportunity to stand out. Right. Now, this obviously was a thinner college group, but whatever. Hames had 41 goals and 70 points in 83 games over 3 years, which for someone who was never really on anyone's draft radar and never really on NHL Central Scouting's list, that's pretty solid. Now, as you're going to see in that scouting report from Elite Prospects, they actually talk about his statistics and how he's developing and compare him to other prospects at that same age. And they say that he's developing at the same process as a top 64 prospect. right? So that's excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. That's what you want to see. So again, the Leafs got a pretty, I wouldn't say a blue chip prospect here, but I think a player that is certainly going to make the NHL. The reason that I'm making a video on this guy is because I very comfortably feel that he is going to make the National Hockey League. And I'm telling you right now, that's all that matters. I don't really care if he plays for the AHL. What the hell does that, like, how does that help any Maple Leaf fan? Now, it would help a Maple Leaf fan if he could be, I don't know, a third-line center in a year or two. That would be absolutely massive. Oh, and by the way, he's very, very good defensively. Another player that they signed was Prokop. I'm not that excited about him. Again, I want the guaranteed NHL guys. Those are the guys that I keep my eye on always. The article also continues, the moral of the story, Hames is pro-ready. He'll make an impact with the Toronto Marlies next season and might even get into some NHL games. I feel very confident that he'll become an NHLer. And if all goes way, maybe he'll become the team's number 3 center. There's still room for him to improve his playmaking game and his speed. So the short-term priority absolutely will be able to get him improving at Coca-Cola Coliseum. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on how he performs. He's on a tryout contract for the rest of the year. I actually don't know how these tryout contracts go for the American Hockey League. I'm not even sure if he can get into Marley's game, but I'm going to be keeping a close eye on how he's performing at what age, because that is one of the biggest predictors of how good a player is going to be. So you want to look at how he's developing, at what age, and at what level is he playing. Because if he's playing really good in junior, who cares? Now, I see a lot of comments, or at least 1 or 2 comments of, oh, he was passed over at the draft. Oh, he was passed over at the draft. So is Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore has turned out to be a really good player that the Leafs got. I mean, they gave him away. Look at Bobby McMahon. He's pretty good. Look at Tyler Bozak. The idea that these players can never work out is ridiculous. I understand people being skeptical, but this is a player to keep an eye on. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.